Why, hello YouTube. This is Baylor Mage. Welcome back. And we're going to go over some of these spoilers, specifically the Keystones that have come out about the new league, because I've seen some negative things about one I'm really excited about and not enough about one I think is the most bait ever. So, we're going to look at them. First of all, I'm going to look at the one that I'm way more excited about than everybody else. This Delirious Fog in your map never dissipates. Unending Nightmare might be one of my favorite keystones that I've seen put in recently at all. I'm actually personally super excited about this one. It has some downsides. Obviously, can't get any delirium orbs, can't get any splinters, and we're running under the impression that you can't end it, so you're not going to get the end rewards of delirium either, which are the three things most people are focused on for delirium. For normal delirium farming, it's actually not good. But if you play the game the way I play the game, and you like to quant farm and MF and do boxes and do strong boxes specifically, especially with the 500% enraged strong box, this is a god tier node. And that is like my main way of playing. And when I do that, I make almost nothing out of the few delirium orbs that I get, or like the little rewards that happen at the end of the map. On top of that, when you're in rage strongbox farming, you generally have to try and clear the whole map and then come back through to open all of the boxes. And by the time you're doing that, most of the time, at least for me personally, I only get through half the boxes at best before my delirium fog disappears. We don't want that. We want to have delirium fog all of the time. Specifically, we want to have delirium fog all the time because as things are delirious, you get more monster item quantity and item rarity in varying amounts as it goes up. That is the important part. We really, really want that quantity to go with our quant farming. So for me specifically, I really, 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 really like this. It especially works in places like my absolute favorite map, which is Crimson Temple, because it ends up being ran like a big loop, ideally, but you can't really run it that way with fog because you need to try and zigzag around and follow the fog and not outrun it, and then try and like run back to the front and try and get it before the fog's closing behind you, and it causes a whole bunch of problems and you never get as much quantity as possible. Now I can run any map, including my favorite one, without worrying about that at all. I can run all of my strong boxes. If I need to leave, if my inventory is full, if I need to do something, my fog is never going to go away. I've seen way too much negativity about it. This is my favorite node I've ever seen. I think there might be a case where it is almost specifically just for people who play the game in a similar way to what I'm talking about. I don't think it'll be a fantastic node if you're someone who's trying to like mirror farm tropical islands and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of farming methods that have to do with delirium where this would ruin your farm. But for me and the way I like to play, absolutely fantastic. Most exciting node I've seen in a while. Actually can't wait to use it. On the other side of that, we have what might be the absolute worst node I've ever seen in my life, which is Timeless Conflict. Legion encounters in your maps have no timer. Breaking out monsters and chests that are in stasis progressively cause that word, schism? I don't know what that word is. Legion encounters in your map begin once it has occurred. So this wasn't really clear when it first came out. I wasn't really sure what that meant. So in their recently asked questions, how does it work? You can read that for yourself if you want, but the TLDR is there's no longer a timer. And as you break mobs out of stasis, you fill the bar. When the bar is full, it unlocks them all. Now that bar is almost certainly not going to be 100% of all of the mobs there. So that means you've made it worse. You've made Legion worse and less rewarding. Yeah, if you're on a slow build and you've taken this node, you might be able to be like, oh, I'll just go find the general and at least I can break the general out and these few boxes or whatever. But the reality is it's going to take you way too long because you're on a build that isn't clear focused. If you have to take this, you don't have the clear for Legion. And so you're already on a slower build. It's going to take you way too long, and then you're still going to miss half the rewards from all the mobs you didn't break out. Which means this node enables people who couldn't previously do Legions to do a shittier version with less rewards, making it not worth your time to begin with. So it just feels to me, unless I'm missing something, like the biggest bait node ever. If you've got a build that can already do Legions, this node makes it worse. And if you've got a build that can't do Legions as they currently stand, this node makes you able to do them, but then makes them not worth doing at the same time. So this node really just makes me want to tell people to stay in their lanes. And what I mean by that is just, if you've got a build that can do Legions, do Legions. If you've got a build that can't do Legions, pick something else. Don't invest into Legions in a build that can't do Legions. There are so many other ways to make money in a league. Expedition is right there. You're like slow as shit Juggernaut can do Expedition all day and make tons of money. That doesn't have a speed requirement. There are so many things that don't have speed requirements that you can do. This is trying to shoehorn your slow, clear build into being able to do a mechanic that it shouldn't be able to do, and then making that mechanic not as rewarding as a result. It's not worth it. I think this is absolutely just a bait node. It's possible that I'm missing something. Obviously, we haven't played with it yet. When the league comes out, anything could change. I could be wrong about both of these nodes, but as far as I can tell, this is just bait, and I'm not interested in it at all. It seems horrible. So there's that one gone. The last thing we're going to look at is the Kirak mods, because I actually missed them coming out and I was pretty happy about them. In general, one, essences. How are essences 2C? This might just on its own be the easiest thing for casuals to do, by a long shot. Important things to know about essences is that the tier of map that you're in doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter at all. So if you just take some essence nodes and you can only do white maps, you can farm up so many essences and either sell them for money or craft your own gear at 2C and per Kirak mod. Amazing. Love that. Domination being on the map device again is really good for gull enjoyers. Depending on what build I start with, if I can put a gull on, I probably will, and this will carry me through the first few days like super easily. I'm not going to mention breach because I'm going to be honest, I really didn't like the breach rework that much at all, so I'm probably not going to use it. Can't see a way to make Harbinger make money, even though it's my favorite. Legions at 6C is insane. Delirium at 10C is also still insane. This is still really profitable. The one that's slightly in contention for me is Ritual at 10C. I feel like I've never made a large amount of profit out of Ritual, and I am kind of probably going to go looking over the next few days for if there were ever any Ritual strats that were actually good money per hour. Because I've seen people pull, like, you know, Headhunters and Mage Bloods and clips out of Rituals before, but, like, I've also seen them drop on the ground. I've also seen them come out of Strongboxes. I've also seen them gambled from the people that I can't remember the name of. Is it Gwenin? I think it's Gwenin. Can't remember which one it is. So, like, they can happen from anywhere, but do they happen enough? Like, I don't know if this has ever been worth it. So I'm going to be interested to see if there is something that makes people pay Ritual 10C, but I can't see a world where I ever do Rituals for 10C. If you gave me Ultimatum for 10C, I would do it every map. GGG, please. All right. That is all for today. I will see all of YouTube people later.